Hello and welcome to Mecha Anime Reviews, and today we're gonna take a look at Shin Mazinger Shougeki Z-Hen, or Mazinger Edition Z The Impact. Yasuhiro Imagawa, it seems I get to talk about you yet again. We've already looked at Giant Robo, G Gundam, Getter Robo Armageddon, and Tetsujin 28, and since I'm a fan of Mazinger Z, I know I'd have to talk about this show eventually. Much like Giant Robo, Shin Mazinger is a massive crossover, only with Go Nagai's creations instead of Mitsutaro Yokoyama's. Unlike Giant Robo, the entire cast of Mazinger Z manages to appear in this show, with characters from Devilman and Violence Jack serving major roles. Anyway, what's the story? In the 1970s version of the future, humanity has entered a new age, embracing photon energy as a new fuel source. Seeking that power is Dr. Hell, who, along with his minions Baron Ashura and Baron Broken, plans to conquer the world and rule it with an iron fist. Opposing Dr. Hell is Koji Kabuto, a hot-blooded teenager who pilots the machine known as Mazinger Z, created by his grandfather Juzo Kabuto. However, it's soon revealed that there's more to this than meets the eye, as secrets are discovered and new characters are introduced, revealing a dark mystery about the Kabuto family and the mysterious Mycene Empire. The animation is awesome. Sure, they kinda cut corners in a few places, but for the most part it's very well animated and looks amazing. The music is pretty good, being epic and bombastic. The voice acting is excellent, with the seiyus giving good, super hammy performances that fit with the aesthetic. I guess the key to voice acting in any Yasuhiro Imagawa show is to be a large ham. I guess the most obvious point of comparison is to Giant Robo. Like I said in the beginning, Shin Mazinger is sort of a crossover of various Go Nagai creations, with Mazinger Z much like Giant Robo with Yokoyama. Of course, there are some differences in ideas that make it distinct from Giant Robo, and some stuff that improves upon the latter. For one thing, the battles are nowhere near as one-sided as they were in Giant Robo. Sure, the villains plan ahead and are powerful, but the heroes are able to counter them at every turn and beat them back. The mechas have more of a time to shine, with Mazinger Z in particular being at its most powerful in this version, its weapons and abilities being more impressive and cool than in any other incarnation to date. The battles are epic and awesome, with each one escalating further and further, and each character getting their own badass moment at some point. The plot is a very intricate one, with each episode contributing to the overall story. And the mystery is well handled, even if it does get a bit convoluted at points. I also appreciate how minor characters from the manga get larger roles here, like Detective Akokuji, the Mazinger Army, and the Three Doctors. Hell, even Baron Ashura gets a surprising amount of character development and focus than in other incarnations, having an actual backstory and even some sympathy, though not to the same degree as other villains in Yasuhiro Imagawa stories. In spite of these strengths, there are some problems. Like I said before, the plot can be a bit convoluted at points. I feel like the Violence Jack and Devilman characters, with particular attention to the Kurogan F5, take a lot of screen time away from the Mazinger Z characters, to the point where they end up being the spotlight stealing squad. Hell, poor Sayaka Yumi barely appears and affects anything in the plot at all, getting kidnapped and beaten most of the time. The First Lady of Mecha deserves better. Still, at least the focus is still on Koji and Shiro, so it's not too bad. The pacing can get rushed at times, and the structure is kinda terrible in that instead of the mystery gradually unfolding like in Giant Robo, they shovel around events so you witness the backstory and outcome of plot elements in the middle of the episode. This not only disrupts the flow of the narrative, but also outright spoils entire plot points. Hell, episode 2 gives away the ending of the series in the first few minutes. Speaking of which, don't watch episode 1. It's a clip show that spoils everything that happens later in the series, and it's just confusing. Anyway, in spite of those problems, Shin Mazinger is pretty good. It's not as good as Giant Robo or the other Yasuhiro Imagawa works, but it does have a good story, great action and characters, and works as a tribute to Go Nagai. Now, alongside Shin Mazinger, there was a manga called Shin Mazinger Z, which is probably going to be what I'll review the next time I tackle something from the Mazinger franchise. Oh well, see you next time on the next Mecha Anime Reviews.